going for it. It'll be 2, that'll be 100 for sure. What a magnificent effort by Greg Blewett.
Make that 100. Sensational century from James Brayshaw.
And that's it. That's a great shot. Up go the arms of Matthew Hayden. That is the world record.
Hey everybody, welcome to a global edition of All Over Bar the Cricket. The Aussies are about to kick off a T20 World Cup, and we've got our man on the spot to give us exactly what that looks like. We're going to talk Sri Lanka with the boys. Such a unique country to play cricket in, to visit, full stop. So we'll get some stories out of these two as to what it's like to play cricket in that part of the world. The Aussies have just finished their under-19 campaign. They got to the semi-finals, Ollie Peak, a couple of hundreds. So we'll talk about him and talk about playing Australian under-19 cricket. There is lots to get through. I've also got some cricket laws updated. I'm going to run them by the boys as well. As I look at, a regular Blewy from Adelaide. Nice to see you, Blue Boy.
Hello, JB and Dos. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Where is he?
Away from Goa.
Yeah, Goa. I've been shooting a little food documentary over in Goa using some of names, Australian and world cricket's most famous people. Dale Steyn we've had on the show. Harbhajan Singh, our own Shane Watson, Ashish Nira. It's been Dinesh Karthik. It's been a really good, fun week because, of course, Goa has got some of the great food cultures. It's Portuguese. And so things like chorizo sausages, for example, they go into all their seafood dishes, and they create out of cashew nuts the spirits. So they've been making all sorts of twists and turns on unique cocktails like espresso martinis, and we did our own martini on the show very just the last episode.
Nice.
2 limes and a chili, just looking surprisingly good.
Yes. I only ever went to Goa once, and I've only been to India once, and I remember, and it might have just been a one-off, Big Dos, a similar thing to what you experienced at Cottesloe or North Cottesloe Beach in Perth, where the waves actually hit the beach on about a 45-degree angle. So I remember standing there thinking these waves are all coming from the left, rather than as we normally experience in Australia, the water just washing straight up on the sand. But it was a fascinating place, beautiful restaurants on the beach. I remember loving it.
Yeah, mud crabs, beautiful fish, seafood is just, you go to the markets here, which we did over the last few days, and you come out the back end of it like I do over at Stratty. It's just loaded up with different crustaceans, beautiful lobsters, and Spanish mackerel. I was sharing photos of our summer experiences over in Stratty, and we got some mackerel. So, it's been a really good week, and I'm looking forward to what's to come as well. I fly tonight to Sri Lanka, so I'll be on ground and all is, as we lead up to the T20 World Cup.
Well, Bluey, we're in no nick again, the Aussies. It hasn't mattered in the past. We've gone into that many World Cups with no form at all, and then found a way to get to the final and win it. So no one's worried about it, but an 0-3 result in Pakistan. No real form for any of the batters coming out of that series. So it's going to be interesting.
We got smoked. Let's be honest. That wasn't even close. It looked like the reverse of playing T20 cricket in Australia. We know our pitches are so true, but also, chasing seems to be a lot easier at the moment in T20 cricket in Australia. Whereas over there in Pakistan, I think we lost all 3 tosses. They batted first, got scores of sort of around about 170 to 200, and then we just didn't fire a shot, really. Like, we never really got off to a flyer either. Like, you'd expect Haydos, playing cricket in Pakistan, against a new ball. That's obviously the best time to bat, but we couldn't get off to a flyer and then make those middle overs a little bit easier for the guys coming in as well. But worryingly, we did get exposed again against spin on the subcontinent. Now, I know conditions are going to change, particularly when Australia get to India. I think, we've loaded up our T20 squad with power, and I think that will definitely suit us when we get to India. But Sri Lanka, on the other hand, Haydos, where you're just about to head off to, there might be a couple of little gnarly pitches there that we get to experience. But having said that, our group stage teams that we play against, we should beat most of those teams pretty comfortably, I would have thought. So, look, I don't think it's a huge deal, JB, that we got beaten by Pakistan. I think that was always designed as a bit of a warm-up leading into the T. But you want to win some games, obviously, leading into it. So let's wait and see. I reckon the bowling's a little bit of a concern for me. You know, no Pat Cummins, no Mitchell Stark. So Josh Hazlewood as well, not going to play those early games. So that's just as a concern. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are tipping that Australia won't even reach the semis.
No, I disagree with that. I think Australia are
Yeah.
red hot favourites to reach the semis. I mean, when you look at their performances and form since the previous edition, they're 17 out of 24 now, which was 17 out of 21 before they got hammered over in Pakistan. And a little bit like those ones that the rain-affected ones against India as well in Australia. It wasn't just plain sailing for that tournament. And I just want to give our listeners and viewers a briefing also on the time of year here. It's not summer. You know, you can't judge these conditions like you can in the height of a really lovely Indian and subcontinental summer. It's still coming out of their winter, which means that it's slightly cooler. The conditions may not be as great for batting. And our whole theory, I guess, has kind of been just that's powerhouse batting. Like when you go through our batting lineup, we are scoring at 10 runs and over. The trouble is when you're in a run chase, the reality is that you cannot be, as they were in Pakistan, 1 for 56, 3 for 48 and 2 for 55. The first game of that 1 for 56, actually, they didn't need to necessarily front end that performance because they were only chasing, I reckon, a very, at best, mid-par score of 140 or 150. So the others were a bit bigger run chasers, Blue, so they have to be more perfect. And I just think those changes as well. We've got now 2 changes going into the World Cup. That's the big concern. No Cummins, no Stark. That's the huge news that we've copped in the last week around Camo not getting up from his last bone scan. He thought they wasn't quite ready, and that's probably fair enough. But it does put a lot of pressure on Josh Hazlewood, who is quite magnificent. And also looking just at the strategy of how we're going to bowl, who's going to bowl in the death and who's that death bowler. So I think our spin options are really good. We've loaded up our team and squad with good spin. Zamps did a pretty good job and will do a good job in the subcontinent, even if it's sort of not the dry, barren conditions, but more of the kind of, wet, not wet, but more moisture in the air and in through the surfaces. And I think he'll get the ball to grip as well and control the middle order. So it's really our batting that's got to lift. We got the 2 changes, obviously, as I said. Camo is out and Dewish's in, and we've got Renshaw for Short, and I think that's probably indicative of Shorty's capabilities and work that he has to be doing on his slow and turning game. I think Matty Renshaw is a bit more equipped to do that than Shorty at this stage, so that'll probably strengthen that up. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm not overly worried about what happened in Pakistan. I think it's a bit of a transition time for a team and a bit of a warm up, and they'll get into their work when they get to Sri Lanka.
I just think when you've got a tournament and you've got a tournament in this part of the world, I would feel so much more comfortable if we had Carey and Smith as part of this squad. Not necessarily in the starting team, but just if those pitches Blewy's talking about end up being served up, where they get really funky and low and turning, those 2 blokes have got so much skill reversing, so much skill against the slow bowling, the ability to throw them in if we need to, rather than, as you say, Dos, just loading up on that big hitting power, which I know has been the cornerstone of how we've played. But anyway, we can't touch the selecting. It is what it is. We'll see how it goes. I'm with you. I think Australia will walk into the semis, but then we'll meet some quality teams, and that will be a test for them. But it's a test our team has found a way to go past in recent World Cups, and there's no reason why we should think any differently. All right, nice segue, boys, into questions we've had from the family about Sri Lanka as a country and also Sri Lanka as a place to play cricket. Hand held high, I've only ever gone through the airport lots of times to fly somewhere else. I've actually never gone out and got amongst it, but everyone I've spoken to who has just holidaying has absolutely loved it. But what about the cricket experience in Sri Lanka? What's that like for the family members?
Yeah, I'm like what you're saying, JB. I've loved my experiences in Sri Lanka. I toured there with the cricket academy, going back to what was that, late 80s, like 89, 90 or something like that. I keep coming across a photo that was taken over there, and I've got the genuine six-pack going on in one of those. Got the shirt off, so I do show my boys every now and then who are obsessed with their six-pack. I go, look at that. Now that is a proper six-pack.
We are going to have to take his word for it, Dos, because there's no photographical evidence of that anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there needs to be an isolation on the top half. I hope you clip that up, Blue.
I'm not saying I had calves like Bacchus Marsh or anything like that, but I did have a genuine six-pack. So that was my first experience with Sri Lanka, and then I toured there with the Australian team as well. And the thing I loved about it most was not so much the cricket was great, but just the whole experience. And you just mentioned food, Haydos, with you're a huge food lover. I just the seafood there and the spices, and I really enjoyed it. And the people were great as well. But always comes back whenever someone mentions Sri Lanka. I just remember this young guy that was part of the touring team, and I'm not going to name any names, but he was a young guy, single at the time. Now, outside of cricketing hours, he found a massage place, Haydos, that he quite enjoyed, and word started getting around about how much he was enjoying these massages. Now, you could probably let your brain wander a little bit about why he was enjoying these massages so much, but it was starting to get around, and one of the senior members heard about these massages, and he went up to this guy and he said, well, yeah, I wouldn't mind a massage. So the young guy steered him off to where this massage place was, and I think he enjoyed the massage. And then at the end of the massage, the lady who was giving it said, listen, sir, your hour's up. So I hope you enjoyed it. Would you like a little bit extra? And that senior player said, Haydos, not knowing what sort of massage it was, he said, well, actually, my left calf's a bit tight. Can you just put an extra 15 minutes into that?
No.
So this young fella completely stitched him up. And so that anytime Sri Lanka is brought up, I just think about that member going off to get a massage and not knowing exactly what he was up for.
Yeah, that wouldn't have flown if you'd gone down that path. I've just got a bit of a tight calf.
Yeah, it was nowhere south of the border there. It was all up top in the guns to the stomach, those six-packs. Great place to tour, JB. Brilliant people, as Blewy pointed out, extremely hospitable people. And I was lucky enough to tour there a number of times. And since actually I've been back as a broadcaster, which is even better because you don't have the pressure of cricket. You can wander down to the beach. They have a really great al fresco type dining arrangement. They sort of set up for it. Most people kind of lock down because it's so damn hot in the day, but of an evening as the sun sets and the bars and the restaurants all open up to the beach. And even if you're up in the mountains in Kandy, where our team will be playing at Palakelly Stadium, it's just hinterlands of tea and rubber, and you really feel like you're in a jewel of the crown of the subcontinent when you tour Sri Lanka. But I went down a different path, nothing to do with massage. I, for the first time, thought that I was going to get Blue sent home from tour, and I'm fair dinkum thought this is it for me. So we were staying at a fantastic place up in Kandy in the mountains, and monkeys are something that you just have to deal with because they're always through the trees and they're all over the resort properties. And they, of course, are opportunistic feeders and thieves. So I was rooming next to Damien Martyn, and Marto, now that he's well, we can get into him again because he's back in business, thank goodness.
Yep.
He was paranoid about a lot of things, Marto. Sharks, obviously, but monkeys, it just did his head in. So what happened is that when we went to training session, as he came out of his room, and I was right next to him, as I said, I just managed to catch his door, and I put my room key, as he got into the lift, I put my room key to block his door, and then went, "Oh, sorry, mate, I just forgot something. I just got to go back. I'll see you down there. Just make sure you tell the bus to wait, you know." I got into his room, and on the screens of the openings to the door, which had a little balcony and then, you know, obviously the jungle and the backdrop, it has this huge sign, "Don't feed the monkeys," and also make sure you keep the door shut.
Yep.
So, of course, I denied both of those requests from the hotel.
No.
So we have, you know, oftentimes they serve through the subcontinent little fruit bowls and platters. Beautiful little touch of the hotel.
Yep.
So I got the apples and I got the knife and sort of like painted the balcony, you know, with these apples and left this little trail of, you know, fruit and nuts and stuff up into his room. And then just walked out, opened the doors, walked out. Didn't sort of think anything of it. Told a few of the boys, which was my first mistake. I should have kept it quiet because I got on the bus and went, "Oh, boys, you know, I've done this and da. We come back about 5-6 hours later, and as we're driving up into the hotel, I'm looking up at the trees, and I give it the, "Oh no, this can't be happening." So I trailed Marto up into his room, just praying that what I was thinking has happened hadn't happened. And Marto just screams. There is a full-blown orgy going on his bed.
No.
And these monkeys,
No.
Bray, these monkeys had absolutely destroyed his room. All the piss was taken out of the minibar. The snacks, the food, the lampshades are all ripped, curtains ripped, bed annihilated, and nothing in his bag, right? Like everything, the monkeys have taken everything up into the tree. So Marto has got no kit whatsoever. They'd got all of his clothes and just his watches. They'd just taken it off into the jungle. Mate, I just thought, that's it. So I immediately get a call from our team manager, Steve Bernard, and said, "Haydos, I need to see you, bud." So I said, "Oh, Brude, man, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Marto didn't talk to me for about 2 months. He was at CRO."
Sheesh.
Well, when it comes to playing there, I remember watching because we'd all been on a journey, Blewy, with the great David Hooks and what had happened to him, some more than others, and probably the most difficult journey of our mates was Buff and what Hook meant to him and all of that had happened. And I think the year was 2004. I reckon you were there, Big Dos.
Yeah,
and he made one of the great Test hundreds.
In Gore.
And a really ragging Test match against Muir-Lutheran, who's the greatest ever. And I remember sitting up and watching that from start to finish, thinking, what an awesome innings. And it was, I think it was his 4th or 5th Test 100, but for me, it was his best one. And I remember thinking, wow, man, that is proper batting against, in really tough conditions with the ball spinning away from him. I remember, I think Colombo, I reckon it was nuts.
And JB, it was also, one of the first times I can kind of remember where Australian selectors had picked the horses for courses type approach.
Yeah, right.
And, that seems to be really continuing now. You think about Shorty going out of the T20 squad, and I hope that he actually holds his head up high, because I still think even by Webster with his off spin, as we saw in the last Test match, I still think he can probably play shorter role in the longer format of the game as well. But yeah, subcontinental specialists, they work, and Buff was one of those. He was just such a creamy player of spin. He's such beautiful hands, and I guess at Adelaide Oval he was so good to watch there too, wasn't he? And you boys got front row seats for that for many years. But yeah, extreme skill sets against slow pitch bowling, and they also, they're mostly subcontinental teams. They don't just come with one option. They're coming with your 2-3 spinners, and that's why we've front-ended our bowling attack as well with the pick of a couple of frontline spinners outside of Zampa. So, I think Buff was just the best in business though when it came to the subcontinent. He was magnificent.
The other thing too, JB, is probably watching on TV. You don't get a great idea about is. Gauls fine weather-wise, because it's right on the ocean there, Haydos, and you get that beautiful sea breeze. And then Kandy's okay as well because you're up in the mountains. But Colombo is one of the most humid places on earth, I reckon. I know I've been bloody hot in Brisbane as well at times, but Colombo, I don't think I've ever been hotter on a cricket ground. The humidity, because the time I was there, it had been raining overnight, most nights. And then, the days were pretty good, but the sun would be baking down and just the humidity coming out of the ground. It was one of the most challenging places, I reckon, I've had to play in, I reckon.
Blue, have you ever been a runner at all in a game of cricket?
I have. I don't think I've done it in international cricket.
Yeah. Well, I had my opportunity to run out Justin Langer about 10 times and failed to do so.
Yes.
He's pulled the ripcord. He pulled the ripcord really early. And yours truly got out really early. So there I am running for a full day. Can you imagine that?
Where's that? In Colombo?
Yeah, in SSC. And it was 1 million degrees. It was so damn hot. Swear to God, I was like the old yes, no. Because you don't call as a runner either, right? You just stay there like a stuffed dummy. And it's that confusing, right? You're looking at the striker, the non-strikers. It's a mind do.
Hey, let's swing across to the Aussie under-19s. Not going to spend a heap of time on it, but Ollie Peake, Blewy, a second 100 for him in the semi-final. Couldn't quite drag Australia over the line in Blewy. But what and now, this is a quality young man. We've spoken about this. He's going to have 3 or 4 Shield games before the end of this summer. If he lights them up, I would not be at all surprised to see him playing for Australia in those Bangladesh tests, or at least his name being spoken about in that context. And that's a good thing because we've spoken about it, how we think we need some young talent coming through. So it's great to see him play well. But what it amazed me just following this tournament, boys, is how the spotlight is now on the Australian under-19 team, and it never was in our day. I don't remember even a newspaper article around an Australian under-19 game, let alone the games being televised and commentated and global interest in what happened. So it's amazing how far that's gone. But, Blewy, I'm going to have a whinge here because around my time of playing – well, just have a listen to this one because it's fair enough, right? Around my time of playing in the Australian under-19 team, I think the year before the team had gone to England, for a 3-month or a 2.5-month tour of England. And I think the next year they went to the West Indies and had a 2.5-month or a 2-month under-19 tour of the West Indies. My year, we played New Zealand in Canberra.
Oh.
That was it. That was it. That was our under-19.
Like a one-off.
We played in Canberra. We played at the Albert Ground in Melbourne.
In Melbourne,
And I can't remember playing anywhere else. That was it. Against New Zealand, Blewy.
Got out of Canberra, like Barrel, and it's all pretty close there.
So how does it happen that was what I copped? What did you get, Blewy?
Well, I was lucky enough to go to the UK, JB. I was one of those. It was just.
Have that.
Hey,
have that.
JB.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the saying, "Good things happen to good people"? Well,
not in your case, no. I haven't.
So off I went to the UK. I tell you who, and you spoke about the current under-19 team, and I reckon it's great that and I think it's because of AFL and some of the footy codes, like the young talented players are followed very closely, right? Because you want to know who's going to be next off the list. And so I think it's really good that we're starting to follow our really talented juniors a lot closer. But in my team, Adam Gilchrist, Damien Martyn was captain, and we had Michael Kaspovich as well. So there was four of us, and add on Simon Cook as well, who played a couple of test matches for Australia. The Sly Dog, who took 5 for on debut, I reckon. Did he get 5 for?
What a unit. What a unit that man
What a
was.
unit, yes.
Oh,
so
my God.
there were 5 of us out of that team that ended up playing for Australia. So that just goes to show that some of those pathways really work well. But I had probably, outside of my tours with the Australian team, I reckon that's the best tour I've ever been on. Like, I roomed with Damien Martyn for the whole trip. I got to know Gilly really well, who's just an out-and-out champion bloke. And just the whole squad. I mean, there's different dynamics, but it nearly didn't happen, Haydos, because I'd never been overseas before. And on the way to the UK, we stopped in the Netherlands to play a couple of warm-up games. And that was just to help, promote the game of cricket, I suppose. But the very first day we were there, we played a game, and then this is in The Hague, right? I don't know whether any of you guys have ever been to The Hague, which is sort of probably about an hour out of Amsterdam. And we'd played a game, and then we had a team dinner after the game at some restaurant, and then we had a great time. And then on the way out, I said to a few blokes, I just got to go to the toilet before we get on the bus. No probs. So I go to the toilet, I come out of the restaurant, and as I'm coming out, I just see the bus driving off. I'm just looking at the lights, just driving off into the distance. And I'm like, hilarious. I'll just wait here for another 5 or 10 minutes. Bus never came back. And by this stage, I go back into the restaurant, and they've shut up. So it's lights off. They've all gone. And I'm like...
No phones, obviously.
No phones. And I'm like, what do I do here? So I just start walking. I'm walking the streets.
No.
This now
walking
is about
the streets
11,
of Amsterdam.
What could go wrong?
So this is 11 p.m. at night, not knowing... And I'm stopping people going, excuse me, and they can't talk English. And I'm thinking, I'm in serious trouble here. So I keep walking. I'm walking for about an hour, asking people, and I don't know the name of the hotel. All I know is that there's...
What a nightmare.
A toucan, big toucan that was lit up, that was on top of the hotel. And I'm like, have you seen a hotel with the toucan on? And then people are going, no, sorry. Anyway, after about 2 hours, I come across this couple who are out walking their dog. It's now midnight. Must have been a nice warm night. And I said, excuse me, I'm exhausted by this stage. I'm thinking, I'm in strife.
Trouble.
Excuse me, do you know this hotel with the toucan on it? And by sheer luck, these two people had been to the cricket match that day. Like, what are the chances, right? So they're like, oh, yeah, come in. And spent the next 2 hours ringing around trying to find out where I was staying. We eventually found out. So I get home. Well, I get back to the hotel. At 2 a.m. Everyone's still up, like running between rooms and having a great time. And no one had known I was missing. No one knew that I was missing in action, including management still. So
sounds like the reverse bloody plan to what Home and Alone scene with the mum is on the plane. Kevin, there was no call for Blue.
Mate,
that might be telling you something, mate, JB.
I was in all sorts. I could have bloody woken up anywhere with, my jeans around my ankles and who knows. But I eventually got there.
This is what I'm comparing it to, Big Dos. Amsterdam, Netherlands into England for 2.5 months. Canberra against New Zealand. 2 ACB playing shirts. And then I went to get a jumper, and the bloke said to me, we've only got long sleeve jumpers left.
Yeah.
And I went, I don't wear a long sleeve jumper. And he
No.
said, bad luck,
Yeah.
because there aren't any sleeveless ones. So that was my. Did you Australia under 19 at Big
Well,
Doss?
as I'm listening to you guys, telling our viewers and listeners what you both got, which is a bad time in Canberra,
Yes.
and a supremely good tour to England with all those legends, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Mentioned. Well, I tell you what I got, boys. I got the arse. That's what I got.
happened?
I just got solid arse because I got dusted up, Blewy, by Greg Haynes from New South Wales. He was your opening batter of that under-19 team. And a boy called Matthew Fraser from South Cricket Club.
Yes, he's from
So
Queensland,
right? Queensland boy. So I got dusted up so massive that these blokes, whenever they saw me, is like, oh, Haydos, he can't bat. Not in the under-19 Australian side. Barely makes the under-19 Queensland side. So, no worries. Complaining about all your luxury items at the top of the tree. I got donuts.
So not selected.
Not selected, and didn't deserve to get selected either. Just quietly. I had a terrible under-19s carnival. I don't know what happened. It was just one of those carnivals. In fact, I reckon I had pretty average tournament play my entire career. I think there's a big difference, right, between playing good tournament cricket like our boys are going to do in Sri Lanka and India over the next month versus just your regular bilateral series or even just a regular series, because you can sort of come back in it a bit. Like when you think back to the 24 campaign that Australia had, they went out the back door really quick before the Super 8 stages and they only lost one game, right? Like it can happen in tournaments. You just feel this compounding pressure. And Blue, I don't know about you, but you also kind of want to strut your stuff a bit in a tournament. Like you start pumping your chest out. Oh, I'm from South Australia and you're playing against Queensland. You don't really know how to handle yourself. And I struggled with that probably up until the 2007 World Cup, because I didn't have a great 2003 World Cup either. Just felt the weight of expectation, I think, in a tournament.
That's always the difficult balance, though, isn't it, JB? Like in terms of selection, as Haydos was saying, who's went on to be one of our best ever opening batters. Like, do you, with those tournaments, the expectation is to pick guys who have done really well in the tournament, the leading run scorers, the leading wicket takers. But I'm sure at times you've got to pick on potential as well, because that's a way of sort of, getting into that national system.
Yep. I think given representing Australia at under-19 level or playing 100 tests averaging 50 Big Doss, I reckon I'd have chosen the one you ended up with. Just quietly. I reckon you ended up on the right side of the ledger.
But JB, you have to, it was great for me. And I did, really, and everyone around me turned into a positive as well, including teammates and people that I would play with for many years. It just becomes a great learning opportunity. You're hard pressed to learn a lot if you're winning or you're getting selected. In fact, that's kind of like what I worry about a bit with our high performance cultures now, because the one thing that you can guarantee in cricket is you're going to have a lot more bad days than good days. So you've got to learn how to deal with the pressure and the selection issues. But most importantly, you've got to do it rough, because when you cut out rough and hurt, it makes you dig a bit deeper. You find ways to problem solve, which cricket's all about. If you just get it all your way and told how good you are ever since you were knee-high to a grasshopper, there's not a lot of learning in that. So I think it was really good for me.
So, Doss, indulge me just for a second. In that under-19 team I played in was a left-arm fast bowler from Queensland called Carew.
Paul Carew,
Paul Carew?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
Cricket.
Was
Kruber played for Valley's first grade cricket for many years. He actually started a fishing business because he loved his fishing. I can remember being out in the middle of Moreton Bay with him several times, big Kruber, with another bloke called Scotty Hancock. They got a trawling business together, and he did that. So Kruber was in and around the state squad for a bit, JB, because as you know, he's a very handy left-arm bowler.
Decent bowler.
Not great pace, but typical kind of like workhorse left-hand bowler. So, yeah, I don't know where he is now, though, Kruber. I'll try and follow that up.
No.
Just quickly,
I just remember
JB,
him being Queenslander. Yep.
out of your year, under 19s, did anyone go on and play for Australia?
No.
Yeah,
No.
really interesting.
In fact, there was only a couple of blokes that played first-class cricket.
Really?
If Kruber did, he was one.
Yeah.
There was a fast bowler nicknamed Dubbo who ended up going and playing for South Australia a bit. I can picture him, just can't think of he played a little bit of first-class cricket. And outside of that, barely anyone actually represented their state, let alone
Really
getting close to playing for Australia. And the funny bit about it was the New Zealand team, I don't remember them having any Test cricketers in their team either, except for Danny Morrison came over and played in the one-days, because we played some one-days at the end of it, and he came over and played in them. I remember facing him at the MCG in a one-day game, but he was about the only one of their
turned
team.
60 the other day,
I know.
Daddy.
Well, there you are. So I'm 58.
Unbelievable. What
so
a character of the
he was
game.
a little bit older than me. But, hey, moving on from that, before we get to the radar, I read where now this is dry and not something we normally go into in this magnificent show, but I read where cricket laws are set to be updated by the MCC. Some changes coming through. There's quite a lot of them. A lot of them are just boring wording ones. But the one that probably does matter, that I really like, Blewy and Dos, is at the moment in a long-form game, last over of the day, if a wicket falls, that stumps. So you get a wicket with the second ball of the over, the next four don't get bowled and everyone just walks off. Now you've got to bowl the next four balls. So a batter's got to come out and face those balls before the end of play. I like it. I could never understand why stumps happened when a wicket fell in the last over of the day. Now that's not going to be the case. Your thoughts?
Well, no, I love it as well. I mean, it's going to add, those 3 or 4 deliveries or even one delivery. I mean, that's why you want to watch. I mean, it's a nightmare for the player going out there to face those deliveries. So it's going to be I love that law change as well. I can only imagine though, James, is that to do with networks around, like I know for us, working here in Australia, like the having to get to the news, which is, obviously very high rating. Would that be why? But I can't imagine why it'd be a blanket rule.
I'm just looking at the sentence here. It says unfair to the fielding side and taking the drama out of the game is their explanation. So, what do you reckon,
no,
Big Dos?
I love it. I think it's great.
Oh, I don't really care, to be honest.
Don't care.
Not really. I hear you, and I'd have to think about it a bit more. But yeah, I'm not sure I've got a great position on that. I'm glad that you blokes are passionate about it, but no.
Not passionate. I just like it. If you're going to change, at least make the game better, and that for me makes the game better. All right, radar time. I don't know where we're at, boys. We haven't done the radar for a couple of episodes. That's my bad as the man that steers things around. So we're now getting back to the radar. I am down the coast.
Yes.
As you both know. And that means
saw that photo on Instagram of you pretending that you got close to the hole.
If he didn't.
What was that about?
Yeah.
Seriously. 2 more rolls of the TP5X, and that's my 3rd hole in one. I could not believe it. And my stunning wife was there with me, so she can bear witness to that magnificent little baby draw 6-iron that should have gone in the hole. Anyway, not talking about that. I'm down here. So where I live to the next major town, Blewy, there is an overtaking zone. Country road overtaking zone. You know where it says overtaking lane in 300 metres, all the rest of it. So my radar is for the half-wits, the dingbats, the pieces of you-know-what, who on a 100K road drive at 98 until they get to the overtaking lane and then speed up to 115. Why? Dickhead. Drive at 115 and no one's got an issue with you. Or if you want to do 98, move over to the left lane and let everyone go past. Why would you do that? It doesn't make one bit of sense. So my radar is those people who behave poorly on the open roads.
Yep, sort themselves out, would you?
Yep. All right, you two, who's first? Dos?
Go, Blue. Go, Blue.
Well, just take them on the inside, Bray. Just break the rules and just take
Oh,
them on the
my
inside
God.
when you got the two.
Mm.
You know.
What sort of mental
I know.
imbecile does that?
I know.
Like, it's
I
just
get it.
so stupid.
I get it.
Anyway, right.
My radar is on my outdoor fridge, which is playing up, and I've tried to fix it. Haydos, I'm a very, very handy man. I can just
No, you're
about
not.
fix anything around the
Can't
house.
fix anything.
What
But I've
was
got
your
this-
starting cue to the fridge going down?
I'll tell you what it is. Take the thing, the PowerPoint out, let it sit for a minute, and then put it back in and press it. That would be as much fixing as you're capable of doing.
Would you go the Fonzarelli approach and just start kicking it?
No. Well, I thought it was my initial instinct was to blame someone else, and I blamed my wife who had stuck some
course
drinks,
it was.
some of my boys' drinks straight in front of the thermometer. So I thought that might have been the issue. And then when I rearranged the drinks, the temperature didn't come down. It was sitting because we've had like 45-degree days here in Adelaide. So, and I went out there and the fridge temperature was like 23 or something like that, which is not good for the beverages that are in there.
No.
So then I'm sort of starting to. So this fridge is about 6 years old, I reckon. And
Are we
I'm
talking
sort of,
an integrated wine fridgey inbuilt thing, or just an old
it's not
fridge you got in the
inbuilt,
garage?
but it's outside. So it's next to my barbecue. So it's like a double fridge glass door that it's got. Sits underneath the bench next to the barbecue. So I can pull it out, which I did, because I was thinking, a bit of dust or something might have got involved with some of the mechanics. So I unscrewed the back of it, and then I just got my blower. Haydos, I got my blower and gave it a good. And then I slid it back on, and same thing. So I don't know what to
did
do.
blowing on it do?
Yeah, what were
Get
you
rid of
trying
the
to blow?
dust.
Yeah.
Get rid of all the some of the dust and some of the build-up. Because I think there's a filter back there, or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, I'm in all sorts with my bar fridge, and
You are now going to have to do the one thing you least like doing.
Yeah,
get
And that's
someone out to have a
putting
look
your
at
hand
it
in
and
your
parting
pocket
with some
and
cash.
buying a new one.
Throwaway society.
I am coming
I
to
admire
your
your
joint.
courage.
I am coming to your joint next week, so you better have it sorted
Well, bring
by
a
the
fridge.
time I arrive.
Yeah.
I'll bring something to put in the
Forget
fridge.
the wine, just bring the fridge. Mate, your compressor's shot. That's what's happened. Blue?
Oh yeah,
Righto.
Yeah. Might be.
Does it make it when you turn it on? Does it make a whirring sound? Can you hear the compressor at the back?
Well, I had left it on, and
function?
my wife did say that it was making some ordinary noises, and then I turned it off. But I actually didn't hear it myself.
Yeah, you've sprung a gas leak, and it's good evening for your compressor.
Good.
I'd say.
Sucked in. You need to buy a new one.
Yeah,
All right.
$700. Get your hand out of here.
Big goer DOS, big dosage.
Yeah.
What have you got on the radar?
Yeah, well, lots really. JB, I think the obvious thing is the World Cup's on my radar. I am in Goa, but tonight I fly to Mumbai. There's no direct flight from Goa to Colombo, so I go Mumbai, Colombo. First match that I've got as a commentator is on the 7th against Pakistan and Netherlands are playing, so I get a bit of a look at whom's just beat Australia.
Yep.
And the Coitoits in that pool. So that's Pool B. That's Pool A match, and then I do another one on Sunday. So back-to-back games, Sri Lanka and Ireland. That's our pool. That's Pool B. And then follow the Aussies for a bit. There's been a lot of drama, obviously, around India and Pakistan's government, kicking in, and we'll just have to keep you all updated on that because we're not sure. But I got to say, boys, I'm really looking forward to going back to Sri Lanka again. It is a great place, as we discussed before, and T20 World Cups and the tournaments, they come round really quick, don't they? When you're thinking about Australia's performance, what did we win one in 2021? Justin Langer took us to a trophy there. And we've performed okay our numbers are semis or better 4 out of 9 times. But I guess what I'm really curious and interested in looking at in this World Cup, because to me, when you say the word Australia, you go semi-finals. You know, you say the word England, you go semi-finals. India, semi-finals. New Zealand, South Africa, semi-finals. They've got real options, but there's a real spread between the test-playing nations who are dominating that landscape, and then the rest seem to be miles away, unless the West Indies just have, you know, one of those swaggeringly good West Indians day. I just can't see how they're competitive. And Sri Lanka, unfortunately, the host nation as well. It's just been turmoil for so long through domestic tournaments. Even though you look at the roster of players and you think, gee, you're probably good enough to be in there with a semi-final berth, but they seem to be falling a long way from grace. So the majors, unfortunately for cricket, seem to be getting more major, and the minor operators seem to be going that way as well. So looking forward to seeing whether the gap has closed at all. We know the performances of a nation like Zimbabwe can come under question. West Indies can come under question. Pakistan, you know, they're always dark horses, but, you know, who's going to turn up and how are they going to turn up? I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, they're a game down too if they don't play against India, which is
2 points.
You're already
finished,
dropping one, yeah.
But I think it's not only 2 points, JB. It's if Pakistan are unable to play in this tournament, I feel desperately sorry for the 250 million people that will absolutely love cricket in that part of the world. But I feel sorry for the game because, you know, an Indian-Pakistan rivalry, we talk about it with the Ashes, the England, the old guard, you know, that comradeship and that sort of chemistry of the competition. And now the newly formed Border Gavaskar Trophy seems to be such a heightened awareness. Anytime India and Australia play, it's unreal. But, you know, for Pakistan, they need to keep playing cricket. And if people aren't going to play them, or they're not going to come to the world stage, and there's going to cause all sorts of financial contributions discussions around their future and the future of how they fit into world cricket, it'd be just a disaster if they didn't play.
It's only one game they're talking about, though, isn't it? They're just refusing to play India. The rest of the tournament they've locked into. Is that right?
But you can't. Yes, but you. I think it's really difficult to select, JB. Like that's when you look at the way that the ICC set up and function in their tournaments. Always that India and Pakistan are in the same group. I can't remember a tournament where they're not in that same group for obvious reasons, because you've got 1.3 billion people here and 250 million people in Pakistan. You know, basically that's a third of the population of the world coming together in one match. The financial ramifications of that match not going ahead for cricket is unfathomable, because we all share those contributions, right? That's the reality. We get handouts from the ICC, and that figure will come down. Everyone will be taking on-scale haircuts. And if you can't guarantee product, then I don't think there's a future.
Well, the other thing too is that it's not just one game. I mean, what if they were due to play in the finals as well? I mean, you can't have a team.
That's right. What if they get through that stage and then have to play the scheduled matches in India at this stage? Yeah.
Well, we will watch, and I'm with you. I hope they can sort it out. A bit of ground to cover between this episode and the next one. Big Doss is going to be in Sri Lanka and India and watching that tournament, and he'll do a magnificent job of covering that. Blewy, I'm heading your way, and then I'm going to the State of Origin game in Perth, and then I'm coming back to Adelaide to go to Live on the last day, and I can't wait for both of them. Just magnificent events, and taking your cellar down in the middle of it all. So
I've got a
delicious week.
Your behaviour over that Live weekend is on my radar as well.
It'll be poor. I'm telling you now. Your radar doesn't have to go out very far. I'm telling you, it'll be poor now. So the only thing I'm doing, which smart, is I'm bringing Lisa with me so that she just grabs me by the back of
Yeah,
the
pulls you in by the reins,
and just goes, right, you're done. That's enough for you. We're off home. And I don't mind it. It's every now and then you need it. All right,
Yeah.
go well, Goss. We look forward to hearing
See
your
you,
dulcet
fellas.
tone.
See you, everyone.
And Blewy, I will see you next week. And everyone, of course, make sure you get around all over Bar the Cricket. Instagram, follow us on there. You get all the highlights. Wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to the show. And then YouTube, subscribe to the channel and watch it live. We'll speak to you soon.